Alright, so what we have to do here is we're just going to review one problem on finding the zeros of a polynomial and then using those to factor that polynomial completely. And so this will also go through a little synthetic division. So if you need a little help with that, this is the perfect problem. What I want you to do is take some time right now, even if you have to pause the video, go ahead and put the equation you see on the screen into your calculator in y1. 2x to the fourth plus x to the third minus 5x squared minus 7x minus 6. That's what it should look like, hopefully. And then if you want to see what that graph looks like, go ahead and graph it, and we are going to go find the zeros. So I want you to go ahead, find the zeros, pause the video if you need to, and then just pick up as soon as you write those zeros down. But you see there's 2 on the screen, right? So that's what you're looking for, both of those zeros. Okay, so hopefully you found 2 and negative 1.5 as your zeros. And now we're going to go through how we use those zeros to break down a polynomial into factored form. So here's our original screen, right? Here's the original polynomial. And the first thing you should know is when you go to do your synthetic division, you don't need to use one zero over the other first. I mean, it really doesn't matter. If we didn't do this process and you just left it as x minus 2 and x plus 1.5, when you expand that, you wouldn't get something to the fourth power or fourth degree. You'd only get something to the second degree. So we have a problem. There's some things missing, and we're going to need to go find that expression. So I started with 2, okay? And part of this process means that we list out all our coefficients from the original polynomial, so you can see them: 2, 1, negative 5, negative 7, and negative 6. Always bring that first number down, that 2. Okay, and then here's the process we need to go through for synthetic division. Multiply the divisor times the number we brought down, that's 2. Go to the next line, it's a 4, and add them up. 4 plus 1 is 5. And then we repeat the process. Again, the 2 times 5 is 10. Add them up, you get 5. One more time, 2 times 5 is 10 again. Add them up, you get 3. And then one more time, 2 times 3 is 6. Now in this last column here, you should have a 0. That's your remainder. And if that is not 0, then that means either you were working with a number that was not a 0 originally, or you did your synthetic division wrong. It could be as easy as maybe you just accidentally switched the 0. Maybe you thought it was negative 2, but it really was positive 2, or vice versa. So if you make an error and you don't get 0 in that last column, that's where you want to look. Now again, if we stopped here, right, with a 0 of x minus 2, x plus 1.5, and then this expression, this would be 2x to the third, right? Well, we can't stop here because if we expanded all that out, we'd get something to the fifth power, and we were only given something to the fourth power. So we need to do it again, and so that's why we're going to pick up where we left off with our next 0. See, that first term comes down again. Negative 1.5 times 2 is negative 3. Add it up. So on and so forth. And again, we'll get 0 here, which is a good sign. Now you also notice there's a bunch of 2's, a bunch of negative 3's. It looks very, very similar. That's just coincidence. That doesn't happen all the time, just with this problem. And again, we have an expression now we can work with, a little bit more of a factored expression. So here's what we're looking at. X minus 2, x plus 1.5, those are our original 2 zeros. And then our final expression got us all the way down to a quadratic, 2x squared plus 2x plus 2. Now, what do you notice about that? Well, they all are divisible by 2, right? So we should take that 2 out and factor that 2 out, because if we don't, we haven't written it in completely factored form. So I'm going to factor out that 2, right? And the reason that 2 appeared is to help us, and you can come over here and see, get rid of this decimal. We shouldn't have non-integer coefficients here in our factored terms. So we're going to take that 2 once we factor it out, and just make sure we also have, this should be a plus right here. Okay. I'm going to take that 2, we're going to distribute it times 1.5, distribute it times the x, and that's how we arrive at our final completely factored answer. And there will be no 2 outside anymore because we used it to get rid of that decimal in there. So we're looking at a final completely factored answer of x minus 2, 2x plus 3, that used to be x plus 1.5, right? And then the final result that we got from our synthetic division, x squared plus x plus 1. Okay? If you really wanted to check your work, say, did I do this right? What you could do, piece by piece here, you could expand this, and what you should wind up with is what we started with at the top, 2x to the fourth, and so on and so forth. So hopefully this was helpful. If you need anything else, just let me know, as always.